You guys missed this, right? Because I missed it, right? For this episode, I want to talk about my experiences and perceptions of unintentional racism and then intentional racism. Because I think for me, it's very mind-boggling, and I kind of just don't know why it still exists, because technically it really shouldn't. And there are people who are like, racism doesn't exist, and I'm like, sure, check out a Trump supporter. And that's just pretty much how it works. If you kind of just see that there's a lot of them out there, and some of it's intentional and some of it's unintentional, which is a really, really, really big difference. And one of the things that I noticed in regards to racism is that I tend to experience more racism from those who look like me than I do from those who do not look like me. And it's baffling. Like, for example, Ralph here, that's him right there doing his thing. He gets judged on his Spanishness by other Spanish people. And it's not the first time that I've heard this from my different Latino friends, you know what I mean? And it's always bugged me out, because I'm sort of like, well, I mean, what would define Spanish? Because if you try to define Spanishness, then you're sort of literally building up a stereotype for yourself to fulfill, and that doesn't make any sense. When in regards to myself, I tend to get judged on how black I'm supposed to be, or what I get is, you don't look like real black, like you don't act black. And I'm always like, I'm sorry, what's supposed to be real black? Am I supposed to be like living up a stereotype, living off like the BET channel? Come on, not that people who watch the BET channel are living stereotypes, but that's how I get approached, like, well, you're not doing this. Or I get, oh, you one of them chinky blacks. And, like, they walk away, and it's just like, whoa, 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 whoa! Calm that down, bruh. And I don't understand that. Like, I believe I mentioned in this episode here, sorry, Ralph, you gotta go. But in this episode here, I was talking about, like, the expectations of ethnic characters. And for me, it was weird, mostly because I had actually had seen, this preview of the Ghostbusters thing. But, past all that, I didn't mention where I had walked into an interview for a Go modeling Go-See. And before I could even sit down, this woman looks at me and she's like, you're not ethnic enough. And it was funny because it came from someone who was black. And it bugged me out because I remember kind of going, okay, so here's my... What do you mean I'm not ethnic enough? Like, what would define ethnic? Because it was for a hair product for curly girls, And I was like, I came out with my curls. My hair's not curly now. Curly girls, I'm not portraying it. I just had to do it for a role. But it was for a hair product that I was really excited to try and use. And they literally hired every single girl, including my friend who's she's white. She has dead straight hair. She's this really sweet girl. She happens to be Jewish. Not that that's important, but that's who they hired. And I think they didn't think that I knew her because we had actually worked on a project before. And I felt kind of awkward and weird about it because when I walked out of the Go-See, she's like, girl, I'll see you at the photo shoot. Like, she was so excited. And I was just like, she'll figure it out that I didn't get hired. And literally by talking to her, I found out that literally every girl was hired there. But every girl that was there besides myself, they would look like a walking stereotype. And my friend was the token white girl, using their product. And I was pissed off. Not because I didn't get booked, but because the reason why I didn't get booked was because I wasn't ethnic enough. I actually got into an elevator one time. I was on my way to an event and I had a black guy. I just walked up to me and go, oh, you're not real black. Never mind. And just walked away from me for no reason. I'm sitting in the elevator like, do. And that was my reaction to him because I didn't comprehend what it was. And it bugs me out because for those who actually do it, what they do is that once they have decided what race you are, they decide to treat you accordingly. And that's where the fun comes in. Like when I used to work, like most college kids and high school kids, you work inside of like a supermarket or some kind of retail store. And there was a woman who came in and all the employees were Spanish except me. I mixed. And I will not tell you what I am. But the point is, all the employees were Spanish except me. There was one Spanish girl who was much darker skinned than I was, and this woman came in and was like, they never hire any black girls, like, except you. Like, you the only black girl that's real, like the only real black girl. And then she proceeds to actually talk to me and go, because when I played Tetris, I carried those skills into my backpackingness. So that's how I started packing the shopping cart. High score! Like, that's how I did the grocery bags. And I always did it perfectly. All my customers loved me for that. And she perceived me like, you're Spanish, so I shall talk to you in broken Spanish. And it was like this bootleg, broken, gringo-ness, terrible Spanish. And my Latinos will know what I'm talking about, where they talk to you real slow in Spanish words that they might have picked up like on a sign. And she's looking at me, and I remember one time I was packing real quickly, and she turned to her daughter and goes, how do you talk to them? Because you taking Spanish. Senora, parate. Instead of just telling me, could you slow down because you're moving too quickly, she just assumed I didn't speak any English. And my reaction was like, yeah. I know you didn't just assume that I don't speak no English. Like, it pissed me off. I was like, bruh, was that really necessary? You know, she may not have meant intentional harm, but that was unintentional racism. You know, I have more stories growing up where by me being Asian, they have this whole thing like, oh, ching chong, hi, like quick, drop some pots and pans, that'll talk to her. Like, that's how they would do it. And I have more relatable stories to my Asian friends than I do to anybody else. Because that was their perception. You know, it was between that and like, oh, she probably knows, you know, kung fu, and I'm like, I do. But it's ridiculous. I've seen where, because of that, people go, you Chinese, you know kung fu? Come on, let's fight. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's wrong with you? Do I assume that you're about to drop the next rap album? Like, calm down. Bring that down, bruh. You know, like, do I assume that you have maracas in your back pocket? No. Back that down, bruh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's that unintentional racism as well as direct racism. And it bugs me out. Because I can't comprehend it. Because the way my mom raised me was everyone's the same exact thing. It does not matter. We're all together. We're all sharing the same planet, the same land, the same food. It does not matter. I mean, my mom would deck the house out for Christmas time. Macy's was jealous. Like, they took notes from my mother during Christmas time in regards to how to decorate their place. She is phenomenal at that. She handmade all of the decorations. Every year was a different Christmas tree theme. It was really, really big in her house. And it comes from my grandmother. My grandmother loves Christmas. My grandmother, we putting cards everywhere. She loves to decorate Christmas. And that comes from my great-grandmother, which is one of the things that my mom does mention. And it makes sense because from what I understand, Christmas is really big in Polish culture. So for her to kind of just bring that with her, that's something that just sort of transcended with the rest of the family. So Christmas is really big. Big for us, probably a little more than, normal, but you know, that was the whole thing. So during Christmas time, my mom made me a black Santa, a white Santa, a red-headed Santa, a Spanish Santa, a Chinese Santa. Like, I had Santas of all different cultures. Like, if she can make them a slightly different shade, she didn't care. She's like, okay, and this is just that poof, and this is another that poof, this is a poof, 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 poof. Like, that's how she would do it. And as a kid, that's probably one of the best things that she ever did. Because, especially when you're growing up in New York City, you see all these different cultures and colors, and you're like, oh, wow. Like, you can't help, but to be curious. And especially in regards to when I'm looking at my own family, we're all kinds of colors. My mom is light-skinned with blonde. My grandmother, everyone looks at her and either thinks she's either this little old white lady or they think she's Puerto Rican. It's either one of the two, which she could care less about. Just don't treat her based on what you assume her to be. That's really where the difference comes in. My father's red skin, and because of that, people just treat you accordingly. Like, I've walked into shops and they just assume I'm going to steal something, or they look at me and go, oh, well, I'm not really sure what you are, so that's a problem. And you're like, how is that a problem? I mean, the whole point of having culture and languages is so we can share it with each other. I mean, That's what I think. I mean, to be honest with you, I like talking to people who don't look like me. Like, hi, you don't look like you're in my family tree yet. Hi, what do you do? You know, like I can't. That's me. You know, and I kind of think culture is more based on where you're from opposed to your race, because it's not like when we became different races, it's not like God was like, whether you believe in God or if you believe just only in evolution, it's not like the body or God was like, okay, white people here, black people here, Spanish people here, Asians here. Like, that's not what was happening. The reason why we look the way we look is actually more based on evolution if you actually generally think about it. I mean, what happens when you go out in the sun for too long? You either do one or two things. You burn or you tan. At some point, your body's going to be like, oh, sun not so good. Let's darken a little bit next time. And that's what it does, you know. For monsoon-type neighborhoods, what do? When the wind blows, huh? You know, in cold areas, what happens when you have lack of sunlight? Because what happens in the winter, right? You get a little lighter. The reason why some white people have more narrow noses, it's because their body is programmed to keep the cold air out. That's why, you know, they make the joke like white people don't ever feel the cold, because their body is keeping the cold air out. If you're like me, you have like slightly wide nostrils, or if you have really wide nostrils, the cold will kill you, even though I love the winter. But your body's not made for it. If your nostrils are wide, you're more made for the hot weather. Like, I was dating this white guy one time, and I mean, anything slightly warm would drive him insane. And then one of the things that I noticed about him was how his nose was, and I was like, oh, you're so cute. And he'd be like, aren't you hot? Because he can't get any of that out. And that's why our nostrils are made that way. Your body's based on evolution, because your body will do anything to survive, no matter what. It'll work against you. Like, if you're trying to kill yourself, your body will be like, I'm not done here. Like, you know, that's how your body is programmed to do. I'm sorry, my phone keeps going off, and I left it somewhere. I hope no one's texting me. If you're texting me, I swear, totally just text you back. But yeah, I just kind of want to know what are other people's experiences in regards to dealing with, you know, accidental racism or intentional racism. Because it's crazy what's out there. I mean, I had a man actually sick his dog on me, like, go get the like, that was his reaction. And meanwhile, I was like a 50-pound little girl visiting my family, like, I'm gonna walk around the neighborhood. The neighborhood's pretty safe. Oh crap, he's sitting the dogs. Like, if you look at me and you consider how old I am, that should have been done for, but that didn't stop him. You know, but I just think it's a little weird. And one of the things I do want to point out is that I notice a lot of the most racism that I tend to deal with comes from those who look like me. And it's strange, because Chinese people would judge Chinese people, Spanish people would judge Spanish people, and there's this whole other breed of people who are just like, this is stupid. Why are they judging each other? Like, this is dumb. Oh, you cute. How you doing? Like, you know, those are my people who see people like, oh, you looking different. Come to me. But yeah, share your experiences with me. And also, in the meantime, you can check out my previous episode here. Yeah, right there. And be sure you go down there. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. But really, click down there to subscribe and leave your comments. Tell me your stories and experiences. Remember, my shows are always on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And also be sure to follow me on Twitter. I have a Facebook fan page. Tell me more about your experiences, you know, or tell me things that you've perceived. You know, like, I do think a lot of the racism against people who are Muslim is stupid. Like, they're Muslim, they're bad. Nah! That's stupid, yo. Like, let's not be dumb about this. And, you know, just, I mean, come on. We're all human, right? I mean, I think our only concern should be if they're alien and it's like Independence Day. Because if they're friendly aliens, I'm all for it. Like, cool, where are you going? Where do you live? And what kind of food do you have? I'm serious. Like, if we ever had an alien invasion, my first question would be like, so, do you guys have any good food that I can try? Yeah, no, I know you're going to enslave us, but what kind of food are we going to be eating? So it's not good food? Quick, fight back! Like, I won't. I'd be all about the food. But, thanks for watching, and, yeah. Oh, yeah, quickly before I go. What's up, Doc? when technically there's different flavors of black as much as there's different flavors of white, and anything and everything in between. Parate, parate. Did you just assume I don't speak English? Like I was ready for it. It was sort of like, let's go. We're not ethnic enough. I was sitting there on the elevator like, minding my business, and they do this. You know, and in New Yorkers, that's a little too close. So he gets this close to me, and he literally does this. What kind of black are you? Like, you don't look real black. Like, you don't look like a real black. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, I got the whole thing wrong.